Day 4 on the roller coaster. This new podcast that I started on a whim, leading up to my pre-diagnosis meeting for severe ADHD and everything that comes along with it. This time of self-discovery that I'm on. Um, yeah, it's a weird time to be alive, man. Christmas is coming. It's less than a week till Thanksgiving, so I'm getting all that running and going and trying to plan out the menu. Well, I pretty much got the menu planned out. I've just got to get a couple more little odds and ends. Then I got to cook for everybody. Prep a few days before, reheat, all that fun stuff and everything. Plan it all out. It takes some time. But something I've noticed, something happened. Something weird happened yesterday. When I say weird, I mean it was interesting. It's something I haven't felt in a very, very, very long time. Let me go back a little bit here. A little exposition. So growing up, I've always been fascinated by the arts and music, film, anything artistic. I was never a big painter or drawer. I enjoyed drawing and everything, but it was never really a calling for me. Music, on the other hand, I took like a fish to water. Just I could. I've always felt like I can see music in a way. I know it sounds hokey pokey, but really, I was in bands growing up. I started playing guitar when I was a kid. My dad was my first teacher. I grew up around him, always playing folk songs, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and stuff like that. On his acoustic. He was also a priest, Episcopal priest. So he would a lot of times he would lead the services, and when we sing and have music and everything, he would accompany and lead, play the guitar and stuff like that. And it was very influential for me growing up, being around that and hearing that all the time. And I took to it. I was fascinated by it, and I found that I had a very high aptitude for hearing and controlling dexterity and things like that. So I just ended up I loved music. Kind of found my own path with it. While my parents listened to Motown and folk and everything, I took more of a rock and roll uh, stance on it. I discovered Led Zeppelin and Hendrix and all that other stuff. Pink Floyd when I was a teenager, because teenagers are depressed. Pink Floyd's great for that. But so that's kind of what I took to. It's kind of the classic, stereotypical rollout for a young suburban white kid. Figuring out what he likes to do. And I really took to it and expanded from there. And, by the time I was in high school, that was my plan. I had that laid out in my head. That's what I was going to do. I was going to be a rock star. That was my plan. By ninth grade, we had a group of friends. I went to a small high school. I had a hard time focusing all throughout my school tenure growing up. I never felt like I fit in at public schools. The curriculum's always it, it was always a big paradox for me. All my teachers said I was highly gifted and I knew the subject matter. I was a terrible test taker. I was terrible at studying. I couldn't stay focused. So they were always confused and they just didn't understand why I wasn't excelling more. And I feel like I was just bored. I felt anxious, had a hard time making friends. I had a very, very small group of friends. So it was a big frustration point for my parents, my mom, especially, and everything. My mom worked so hard. My mom was a teacher as well, working mostly with young kids and in Sunday school and godly play and things like that. Um, so she was very hip to my problems and worked very hard to try and figure out a solution, just find any way to help me. And back then, we really didn't have the answers that we have now, or a lot of the evidence and studies and things we have readily available now were not available back then. But she knew the public systems were not right for me. I knew they were not. So we found a freshly opening charter school for high school, basically in ninth grade. It was when it was starting. So I was going to be the oldest grade going in because it was going to end at 12th grade. I was coming in at ninth, even though it started at seventh grade. So we were always the oldest class. It was a very small group of kids. It was kind of experimental. Um, Social wise, I fit in very well there. I found kind of my clique and my tribe, other kids a lot like me. We had to wear uniforms and things like that. which you can argue all you want about the pros and cons of wearing uniforms in school. My experience was that wearing uniforms kind of eliminated the whole need for trying to impress anybody. It kind of leveled the playing field for everybody and allowed us to just see each other for who we are, get to know each other for who we are, and it worked out really well. I had a really, really strong group of friends there. The problem was it was an advanced studies at school, a lot of social studies, advanced math, things like that. And unfortunately, these were things that the public school had never prepared me for. So I was coming into a new curriculum that was more advanced than I was used to, but intelligence wise, I fit the mold for it, which is why they let me in. But again, because of that disconnect, I was never able to find my footing educational wise. So again, this whole, thing of my whole educational career, I could never find my footing, never I never felt I never found a rhythm for it. It never, just never clicked in for me. So I never took a liking to school ever. I never enjoyed school. I liked the social aspect of it when I got to the charter school, but that was it. But so anyway, so of course I took to music because that was something I understood. I could feel music. I could read music. It made sense to me. Music has always made sense to me. I can always hear where music is supposed to go because there were times when I would be writing songs where I would hear the whole song in my head before I ever put my fingers to the fretboard. It was just a matter of figuring out with my fingers where my mind wanted it to go. I used to have dreams about music, things like that. So naturally, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Obviously, this is where my path is leading. So my first kind of real big taste of it, ninth grade, we had a talent show that they put up, and there was part of the school was renting. It was a church facility that we used for the classrooms and everything. They had added on a few things. And so I decided I wanted to put together a band and play Stairway to Heaven. Cliche, I know, I get it. Fuck y'all. It was fun. But so, I was kind of the only one of my group of friends that played an instrument. But we all wanted in on it, and we all liked each other so much that we all went out and we got an old drum set and put it together. We bought a bass, we bought some amps, stuff like that, and I kind of helped my friends and everything figure out how to play their instruments and stuff like that. And we literally started from scratch, from nothing, and put together this little ragtag team of musicians, and we built how to play Stairway to Heaven as a cohesive band. And one of my buddies who was helping with the music, his sister played flute, and she had a friend who played flute. So, there's flutes in Stairway to Heaven. So I was like, bring them on, man, bring them in. So that's what we did, and we put together this cool little ensemble group, and we crushed Stairway to Heaven in ninth grade, live on stage. It was really, really cool, and that's one of my first real fond memories of where everything clicked for me. I felt like me. I felt at home. Even though I was also the vocalist at that time, and I've never felt comfortable being a vocalist, being a frontman. I was always lead guitar, lead songwriter, backing vocals. Absolutely, I felt comfortable with that. But I always liked the ability to kind of dissolve into the background a little bit and support everything. So naturally, here we go again. Let's get back on track here. So I felt my path, of course, was music. That's what I was going to do. So school, not jiving a whole lot. Ninth, 10th grade was tougher. 11th grade comes around. I had enough at that point. I was failing. I wasn't doing well. It just wasn't going well. All the teachers had faith in me. It was like, it's just not working. So I take my GED. I dip out. Fine, great, whatever. It's water under the bridge for me now. And I went out on my own. I just surrounded myself with other people that played music, and I met some other friends. One of my buddies from high school ended up becoming a very proficient, excellent bass player. We were jamming together, and we met some mutual friends who also played drums and guitar and everything. And we put together this kick-ass little group. We were writing original stuff, and it was cool. It was heavy. It was melodic. It was all the stuff that I really enjoyed. I've always had a great ear for a melody. I've always been a sucker for a good melody. I love the power of melody, especially dramatically dark melodies. That's just what I'm drawn to. I like Halloween. Give me a break. It feeds my soul. I love horror movies. So that's what we're doing. So we get into that. Oh God, I totally forgot what I was talking about here. So real quick, let's jump back to the beginning. So guitar, learn how to play guitar. Thought that's what I was gonna do. Um, what happened to me yesterday? So like I said, I'm 44 now. I got a 10-year-old kid. I got a 7-year-old kid. I got a wife. Started a business. Started all kinds of things. So this was all happening in Phoenix, Arizona. We moved. My family moved there because my dad's job was a priest in '95. We moved to Mesa, Arizona, and that's where kind of all this took place. My early education, high school, bands, stuff like that. Uh, Flash forward, 2010, I moved back to the South where I'm from. I moved back to Charleston, South Carolina, and no band, no nothing, no job. It's basically I was coming home to start over fresh. I had some emotional issues. I couldn't get my life together. I got laid off from my job because the restaurant I was managing shut down overnight. Didn't tell anybody. I couldn't find another job. I felt I was lost, guys. I was lost. I was emotionally lost. That was kind of my first breaking point. I was like, I got to start over fresh. So I came out here, moved back in with my folks, just to kind of get my feet back under me. And so I got a recording program, which is kind of doing my own thing for a while, writing music and stuff like that. And I've got dozens of original works that I've worked on, some finished, mostly unfinished. Story of my life. What have we been talking about this whole time here? Not finishing shit, guys. Starting big projects, not finishing, going in circles around the spiral of shame. To this day, I have all these recordings that I have not finished that I keep going back to. I'm like, God damn it, when am I going to finish this shit? I guess I'm never going to. There's that shame cycle again. So, and that's been going on for over 10 years since I moved out here. I moved out here in 2010. It's now 2025. It's been 15 years. I've been sitting on all this unfinished music. And you know what? Life happened, things happened, all my gear went away. Still have it packed up in bags. I haven't wanted to play the guitar in 8 years. I haven't had an itch to play the guitar. I have actually been afraid to pick up the guitar. The one constant that I had in my life for years, my one true love, music, my guitar that I've had for 30 years, that I still have, my baby. I've customized it. I love that thing. It sounds like an angel, or I can make it scream like a demon. Still have it, packed away in a bag. Haven't touched it. I've been afraid to touch it. I haven't wanted to touch it. I've been intimidated to touch it. I've been afraid to sit down and plug into an amplifier for years because my mind starts going, well, you're rusty. It's going to sound like shit. It's going to hurt your fingers. You're not going to be able to do what you used to be able to do. You don't have time for this. You've got too much to do. This is childhood shit. And that's the cycle. My brain goes in over and over and over and over again. That's what keeps coming back to. So I'd put it in the back of my mind. Guess I'm not going to play music anymore. The one thing that I loved and was constant for years that kept me going, even when I was alone and had no one else around me, I had my music. I had removed that from my life. And then yesterday, I get this little tingle, this little itch in my mind, and this little voice that says, "You should go play your guitar. That would be nice." And I stopped because I heard it. It was a voice in my head. I stopped while I was at work, and I was like, What the fuck was that?" And I stopped and I listened for a minute, and I heard it again. And you know what happened? I got excited. I got excited because I felt like, you know what? I should go play my guitar. I miss that thing. I bet I could do something fun with it. Not anything serious, but just to chill, just relax, just enjoy it. I haven't felt that in almost 10 fucking years. And out of the blue, yesterday, whoom, hits me. And it was the oddest sensation. I felt like a little kid again there for a minute. And I think that's all part of this revolution that is going on in my subconscious right now through all these revelations for this week. It's it's like I'm slowly giving myself permission to relax, to enjoy life again, the things that I miss. And what I realized yesterday too, with something, I mean, metaphorically, just to kind of give you guys an idea of this relief that I've been feeling since I've realized all this shit about me. You remember that scene at the end of Avengers Endgame when Tony gets the glove and he snaps, and it reverses everything that Thanos did. It undoes the chaos, right? And then it pans over, and they find Tony. He's on the ground, and he's destroyed himself. Mostly, he's on the brink of death. He's sacrificed himself for the good of everybody else. Listen, I'm not comparing myself to Tony Stark. This isn't some altruistic thing that I've gone through. This is just a metaphor, kind of give you guys the idea of how it feels, and physically how it feels. He's laying there in the field. His body's broken. He's clearly dying. Half his head is smashed in, right? I mean, he's looking around. He's incoherent. He's gone. He's gone. He's made the ultimate sacrifice. And Pepper Potts runs over there. And she picks him up and holds him. And everybody's coming around. And she just looks at him. She goes, "It's okay, Tony. It's okay. You can rest now." Boom! That's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me. That it's like my mind finally unclenched his asshole and looked at me and said, "You can rest now. We've got this. We've got it figured out." And it's this wave, man. It's unbelievable. My anxiety's almost gone, folks. In 4 days since this revelation that I've had, this anxiety that I've carried that has dictated my life for over 20 years is almost gone. The power of knowledge is what I'm talking about here. A better understanding of myself and my inner workings, finding I want to say balance, but I'm always going to be working on balance. I mean, what is balance anyways, really? But it's like an ecosystem starting to figure itself out and become stable. And it's been an unstable environment for years. And I know this all sounds wacky, like you guys, and y'all call me crazy and that I'm unstable, that I've got mental problems. I ain't gonna argue with you on any of that. This isn't about that. This isn't about you. This is about me and my journey. And if y'all want to come along with it and ride this wave that I'm feeling and figure some things out, maybe you'll find something you relate to too. Maybe you won't. Maybe you'll just laugh at me and call me the crazy guy and show your friends this podcast and say, "Dude, this guy's a psycho. Fucking listen to him." Great. I don't give a shit. You do you and I'll do me. But that's where I'm at today, guys. Life is a wild fucking journey. I had no idea this week was going to be like this. When it started out, no idea. No idea that this was going to be the trajectory that it happened. This was a random one-day thing that clicked with me, and I went down this rabbit hole, and boom, here we are. Life changes fast, folks, so hold on to your fucking hats, because here we go. This is day 4. I got to keep this going until I have my little meeting, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you all next time.